Trusting God is not a natural thing. It takes effort. It takes intention. It's a choice. Well, you know, when you're named after someone, it's like you can form this sort of special bond with them. At least I know I did. I loved my grandma Starr. I was just a kid when my grandma became a widow. She had been married to my grandpa for over 54 years. I can't even imagine
It is something else. I never forget him.
After my grandpa passed away, I got to spend a lot of time with grandma and see widowhood up close in a way I'd never seen it before. The constant loneliness and the constant grief, it was so heartbreaking to see. So during this time, I started making these necklaces with the word yes stamped on them. The idea was to give it to people as an encouragement to trust God, say, yes, I trust you, God, despite life circumstances. So I gave one to my grandma knowing what she was going through, and let me tell you what, she loved that thing. She wore it every day, and I never saw her without it on. Well, it was about 30 minutes after midnight when I got to the hospital after hearing that grandma had an accident. And I remember running into the hospital and laying next to her on the bed and getting a chance to whisper in her ear and say, Grandma, it's gonna be okay. I told her I loved her. I told her that I promised I would tell the world about her. Then I watched as she took her last breath. But what took my breath away in that moment was stepping back and looking down and seeing still resting on her chest that necklace that I made her. It was as if it was inviting me now to trust God. And it was in that moment that I thought, what if this necklace is meant for more? A favorite passage of mine in the book of James describes how one of the key aspects of our faith is to care for the orphans and widows in their distress. And I had dedicated time to the former, caring for orphans, but I had never thought about widows. What was I doing for the widow? So what I'm doing now is I'm hand making these necklaces. If you buy one, you'll get a second one free. So the first one is meant for you to wear as an encouragement to trust God, but the second one is for you to give to a widow that you know, or maybe somebody who's going through a hard season that might need the encouragement to trust. So when the plans we have for life get upset, we say,
yes.
And when things around us don't make sense, we say,
yes.
When God invites us to trust Him,
We simply say yes.
Yes.
yes. And it's in those difficult moments that sometimes we need a gentle reminder to trust. And it all begins with a simple yes.